What's up? This portion of the broadcast, this is Sports Debate Tuesday, episode 36, brought to you by Beach Volleyball National Events, the greatest showcase in the United States of America. Juniors, doubles, as many as 20 to 25 recruiters. We're in Colorado, we're in Texas, we're in Florida, we're in the South Bay. Duran Forbes is the program director and the founder, and she is a savage. Tell your mother, tell your father, tell your club coach, send a telegram. Send a singing telegram. Beach Volleyball National Events. A family that plays together, stays together. It's also brought to you by NY Varsity Sports. That's me, the NYV. Watching me. Watching you. This is episode 36 of Sports Debate Tuesday, and the episode starts right now. Nah, I'm not going to do it today. That song I've been singing the last 2 weeks. We've been singing all day for at least half of a game, and then we crapped our pants a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, of course. What's on the agenda today, people? What's good? This is episode 36. This is Sports Debate Tuesday, along with my man Rob. Keep it McLean. I am Jason DeBias, and welcome. Daddy is home. All right, so we're going to talk about the NFL a little bit. The NBA the finals has finally shaped up. Looks like it's going to be the Miami Heat. Looks like it's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers. Going to cover that a little bit. Big UFC event. Adesanya living in the Matrix, right? Jan Blachowicz, man, one of the most improved fighters of the year. But first, Rob, we're going to talk about the NFL. All right. We're going to highlight. Oh, of course, here's our pick six is going to be this week. Congratulations to Rob McLean this week. He's the one that won. Theo Brunner, next time. Thanks for sending us your picks. And we got another guest this week, and I'll share that as I go. All right. We saw two comebacks in the NFL over the weekend fall short. I'm going to highlight the Seattle Seahawks against the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm going to highlight the LA Rams against the Buffalo Bills. So I guess the question was, and we'll go one at a time. Let's start with Seattle. Was it more about Seattle blowing the lead or Dallas's willingness and heart to come back? Or does one not exist without the other?
I think, Seattle won that game, yes? So I believe that Seattle is just showing its way. You know, they've got a great team on both sides of the ball. Makes it really easy to be for Russell Wilson to be himself. I just don't think that any team is really, they're their own worst enemy. You know, so I don't think any team is really gonna knock them off the path they're going for. But when you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, again, they had all the opportunities in the world to at least be in front and be, the front runner of the game and be able to control the game a little bit and to control the pace. And they always find a way to be a step behind, just be in an area where, they have to catch up because they're so used to making those mistakes and being in that position. And you see it time and time. I'm not saying it's necessarily the coach anymore. It could just be the organization and the energy that's in that building. But for whatever it is, the Cowboys just aren't playing. When they play a high-level team, they play high-level ball, but not high enough. When they play a low-level team, they play, a low-level brand of ball, but not good enough to, just good enough to win. They play down to their competition. So for me, I think it's all about the Seahawks.
Yeah, man. Do I need to play that song "Accident Waiting to Happen"? That's one of my favorite minute-and-a-half clips, and not because I hate the Cowboys, but because I like sticking it to their absolutely nauseating, vomit-in-your-mouth fan base. All right, so I go Seahawks. In fact, I'm going to do a little 2-1. I'm going to go Seahawks and Buffalo Bills 1 because at the end of the day, teams are going to come back, and at the end of the day, whoever has the ball last, either you do or you do not. Seattle had the ball last. Russell Wilson won. All right. Period. Buffalo had the ball last, and Buffalo won. There are things in the game that change the momentum that allow teams to come back. Sometimes if a team gets a break, you have to use it. So I got to give Cowboys credit, and I got to give the Rams extreme credit. That 28-3 is a big lead to come back from. So these opportunities open up, but at the same time, you still have to score. So I got to give both their teams credit for coming back. And again, as I said in the beginning, one does not exist without the other. But as to the question of which one was weighs more in these instances, and I go 2 for 2 on this. I go Seattle and I go Rams. Yeah. Accident waiting to happen. That's a black cat running around in that franchise, dude. So
Terrible.
The second question was, did the refs decide the game for the Buffalo Bills? I'd like to go first on this, and then you can follow through. I would say yes. Yeah, they decided the game. Damn right they decided the game. But did they decide the game at the end? Yeah. Did they also decide the game in the beginning? Yes. Buffalo had to score 4 times just to get 1 touchdown. Right? The first time they said he fell short. Okay, replay could have said something different. That's fine. Second time, Diggs caught a pass, ran in for a touchdown. The replay showed that he didn't catch it, dropped on the floor. Great, fair game. Third time, they throw a touchdown into the end zone. They call holding or some kind of penalty, so that gets called back. And finally, a 4th time with nothing to call. That's Buffalo. Scored 4 times just to get 7 points. I bring your attention to the middle of the game. They're up and they're in enemy territory, or they're in Rams position on their side of the field. He throws a pass, a 17 or 18-yard pass that is caught by the receiver, attempted to be snatched by the opposition. They both go to the ground where they're both holding the ball. And every time I've ever, as a football fan, and now as a pundit analyst, has never seen that call go to the opposition. Tie goes to the receiver. So the referees decided that play, right? The referees decided that when he got a horse collar tackled, they decided it was inside the pocket because inside the pocket horse collar tackles are legal, outside it isn't. They also decided that when he complained about it, they gave him a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on a quarterback. So do I say the referees decided this game? Yeah, they decided this game, but I don't want to hear anybody failing about how someone got screwed at the end. They decided the game in the first quarter. They decided the game in the third quarter. They decided the game in the beginning and the end of the fourth quarter. And at the end of the day, both teams would have to live with those referees' decisions. Buffalo lived with it all game. They're definitely going to live with it at the end. What goes around comes around. The floor is yours, Rob McLean.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was just, the same old, where at the end of the game, referees, umpires, whatever it is, they're human beings. They look for things a bit more intently. They're not seeing the whole field of vision. They're kind of, honed in on maybe that one play. And I think it's been a little bit better because there hasn't been that crowd, that noise, to kind of put that anticipation in the play. You feel the energy in the building, and it's just a little bit more a realistic atmosphere to make those types of calls, So I've been really impressed, and I've really loved all the refereeing that's happened in the season. But yeah, there's still just the way the rules are very interpreted. And, when it comes to the end of the game where a call has to be made and everybody wants something to happen on that call, both sides of the field. Yeah. Someone wasn't going to be happy. Interpretation comes into play, and then, and everybody's trying to do weird things to get that extra yard. So for me, what I saw, a lot of weird different plays, but it all just like you're saying, did the end of the game end well with the pass interference call? Or, I think it's the same thing all game long. I'm sure there was not questionable plays, but maybe a lot of weird, interesting, different plays that happened in this game that might not happen in a lot of other games. So I think it really is just a game-to-game basis, and I think the referees do a really good job.
I do think they do a good job. I think if the referee did not throw a flag, I probably would have, in real time, because I'm a prisoner of the moment. Obviously, you can see the hat. I probably would have been upset, but at the end of the day, if I compartmentalize it and then to tell myself of these two different teams that I don't have any emotional investment over, if they didn't throw a flag either way, that's fine. That would have been fine too. But I would have, it's to me, it's not just about one play as much as it's about momentum, right? That play kept the Buffalo Bills alive. That was 4th and 8. By the way, it was 3rd and 25. That led to a 4th and 8. And before that, 3rd and 22, he passed to Beasley, and Beasley muscled his way in, for a first down. So there were so many situations where I thought either the Rams dropped the ball or just this guy, Josh Allen's just showing his resolve, man. Another game, 300 plus yards, 5 TDs, 1 interception. That's the only interception, which in my opinion, it just wasn't. Dude, it just wasn't an interception. And I'd love to call him my player of the week like every week, but because we're highlighting 2 teams, I can't run away from Russell Wilson anymore. He's just so good, man. He should be the MVP every year, man. That guy is so good. I always call him the best quarterback nobody talks about, and that's not entirely true. They do talk about him, but if Brady were putting up those numbers, they'd be a ticker tape parade for every win, never mind a Super Bowl. So, let's pay a little bit of respect to our mulatto brother, who, by the way, doesn't do, on and off the field. You want to talk about the respect that man commands because of the respect that he gives? Pshaw. All right, so now we're going to go to NFL Pick 6. We are going to announce the winners. Theo Brunner. I want to thank Theo Brunner for contributing his wins and losses, because without our guest, and it's less interesting. It's certainly more interesting when someone puts their 2 cents in. And here we go, bro. These are the winners, or this is the win-loss record. There you go. There's our man Theo Brunner in the middle at 1-3. Ooh, excuse me. I'm gonna actually, it's 1-3-1. Sorry, Theo. Didn't mean to give you the extra loss. It's 1-3-1. I'm 2-2-1, and Rob is 3-1-1. We are pre-recording before the Monday night game, where all 3 of us picked the Ravens. So Rob is going to be the clear-cut winner. And congratulations to Rob this week. This week we have Trevor Crabb. Welcome, Trevor Crabb. I know you're a big sports fan. I know you're a big Kobe fan, basketball, but thanks for taking the time to talk a little football with the boys, all right? So this week's Pick 6, let's go to the first one. We got Cleveland Browns at the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't think I can dislike 2 more teams in the NFL, honestly. I love the Patriots now, so I don't know, man.
Cleveland, Dallas.
I'll go with Dallas. I like what they do. Hopefully they don't choke again.
It's crazy. I think that the fact that I'm actually cheering for the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Cleveland Browns is a testament to how much I despise Baker Mayfield. The man, again, has more commercials than football wins, and I think this week is going to be just the same. I think Dallas is pissed, and I think they're going to wear their anger all over the Cleveland Browns, and they're going to take that team to school. This guy, second-year quarterback, gets taken back to school. I picked Dallas. Trevor Crabb also picks the Dallas Cowboys. We have Pittsburgh Steelers 3-0. How's that for my 3-0 surprise team? Visiting also 3-0, Mike Vrabel's Tennessee Titans.
Oh, those teams look good, man. That's going to be a tough game. I'm not going to call tie. I'm going to go for
not if you're trying to win.
I really like what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing, and I just think that TJ Watt, man, just one of the best defenders in the league right now. And that's
JJ's brother, right?
No. Yeah, have a great linebacker on a Steelers team. It just feels right, So I'll pick Pittsburgh on that one.
Mike Vrabel, one of the ballsiest coaches in the NFL. His kicker missed 5 kicks, and he kept him in. Normally, the coach just decides to go for it, right? Or maybe someone else on the team can kick, the punter can kick, and they usually cut the same day. Not this guy. The first game, he brings him back in a 6th time to kick the game-winning field goal, and from that point on, the guy has not missed. In fact, he kicked 6 more field goals last Sunday. That's Gostowski we're talking about. So Gostowski's been known to miss extra points and then just ridiculous stuff. So I really like Coach 1A. I consider Belichick 1 and Tomlin 1A as far as the best coaches in the NFL. 1 and 1A. They're both number 1. But until he shows he can beat New England on a consistent basis, he's number 2. But number 2 is more than enough to beat Mike Vrabel, who is one of Belichick's Jedis. He coaches very, very well against the run. They have a very good running back. Tennessee has the guy from Alabama. His name escapes me.
Yeah,
Oh man,
Henry.
yeah, Derrick Henry.
Hmm.
I think I'm gonna go with you on this. I gotta go Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, the visiting team. They play well on the road. They travel well too. They play well on the road.
I just
Um,
think that Ryan Tannehill is going to get a lot of pressure, and we'll
yeah.
see if he can make good decisions. And
I
yeah,
mean, Trevor Crabb, our guy, he picks Tennessee. Good for him going
yeah.
against the
I
grain
mean,
on
they're
that
a
one.
great team too.
Yeah,
I wish I didn't have to pick.
I know, right? Yeah, but
you
for
know,
me, like if Tomlin could be 8-8 with nobody, imagine what he could do with one person. And right now, he's got the
right,
one person. He's got
right.
Big Ben, and you got Juju actually literally walking into the end zone from these
Yeah,
for
Juju
these
looks,
open
man,
passes.
strong,
Yeah,
strong.
so respectful
James
too.
Conner back there. Yeah,
He
they
could have
look
been a
good, man.
wideout one a long time ago. He was just big into giving everybody their respect, but now it's his time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the things he be doing physically on that field is like,
Oof.
ooh, he a grown man out there.
All right, here we go. Third one, we got Minnesota visiting Houston, the Houston Texans. I'll go first on this one.
Yeah, why don't you?
I got Deshaun Watson, who played an okay game the first two games, and because of the teams they played against, okay was not good enough. But I think okay is enough to beat Minnesota, and he's not going to be okay forever. He's going to be real. He's going to be better than okay. And whether this is that game or not, I think they win.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Minnesota. I also don't know what's up with Houston, but I definitely trust Houston a lot more. A lot more stable, higher level quarterback, really strong defensive front. I just, in this day and age, I feel as though, the receiving core and the secondary matter so much. So I just feel like for me, I'm going to go Minnesota on this one. They're a tough team, and I feel like they got to put up some on the board. We got Justin Jefferson putting up seven receptions, 175 yards on
Man, did we
TD.
call
Like,
that rookie? Huh?
gosh, dang.
Did we call
Like
that rookie?
somebody, yeah, maybe they got to run the ball more, or maybe their defense is not holding up. But somebody's putting up something.
Those guys
I don't
named
know
Justin,
who's
man.
lacking.
Them rookies named Justin, man. They just
So,
coming through, man.
yeah. So Thielen, Justin Jefferson. I'm gonna go with the Vikings on this one. Hopefully, Kirk Cousins cannot choke for me on this one.
Okay. Cool. You're going Vikings. I'm going Houston. Trevor Crabb is
Mm-hmm.
going Houston Texans. Next game, we got the Buffalo Bills visiting Las Vegas. John Gruden's Raiders. You go first on this one.
And oof. I really like the Raiders, man. I mean, I know they kind of put up an egg this past week, but yeah, I really like Josh Jacobs. I wish they would run their offense through him a bit more. So yeah, I might have to go Vegas on this one.
I'm going the Buffalo Bills. I will cite as a pretext that I am a prisoner of the moment. I also cite as a pretext that I wanted to see them beat a good team and at least play competitively against a good team. I thought the Rams were that good team that they play competitively against and won. Anyone that picks against the Bills right now, I totally understand because that was they were on the verge of one of the most epic collapses in football, right? By the way, they hold the record for the greatest comeback. This would have been one of the top three comeback slashes collapses, but at the same time, if it comes down to the running games and the wide receivers and the defense and special teams, both of them are well coached. If it comes down to the two quarterbacks, I got to go Allen over Carr. Sorry, Carr. Buffalo Bills. And Trevor Crabb is picking the Raiders. All right, we got New England Patriots visiting the Kansas City Chiefs.
This is gonna be a barn
I'll go
burner.
first on this one. By the time you see this broadcast, Kansas City has already won or lost the Monday Night Football game to the Baltimore Ravens. But to me, that doesn't matter because I think win or lose, I think New England's going to be ready for them. New England showed they can travel well. And I believe that if Kansas City wants to make it a shootout, I think New England wins. If they want to play a defensive game, I definitely think New England wins. I go New England.
Yeah, I don't want to go against Kansas City ever, but just like what I've been seeing the last couple of weeks, with Kansas, or the last week with Kansas City, they did not look good for three quarters. Mahomes had a terrible week, and I think not only does he have to come out with a great week this week against the Ravens, he's also got to come back from a tough week last week. So I think there's a lot that's going to go into this week that against one of the best teams in the league. So I feel like they're just going to be really spent after this week, and to face another tough back-to-back team, I'm going to have to go with the Patriots. They're going to be ready for them. The style that they run maximizes Cam Newton. So I think Cam Newton's going to show everything he's going to be able to do.
Yeah, Kansas City is picked by Trevor Crabb, and he's going with the Chiefs on that one. I think a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people are going to pick the.
I think that secondary is going to be a really interesting game.
Yeah.
Secondary against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to play bend but don't break against a guy who breaks people.
Hey,
right.
You get some pressure on him. That's how.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey, last one, Philadelphia. Eagles visits the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know what the injury report is on Garoppolo, but I do believe Mullins is going to play.
Yeah, nobody could look better against the Giants. So that's just, crazy that there's that many injuries on that team. Whether I don't know if it's actually injuries or is it maybe like coronavirus related, but it seemed like there's a lot of people gone really fast in a short period of time. So very interesting on that essence. But yeah, I'm not picking anything with San Francisco at all. When it comes
you going Eagles on this one?
Yeah, I don't care how bad the Eagles look. And to be honest, like the Eagles look good. They just keep making bad mistakes in a high level situation.
Very untimely.
If you're not playing, if you're playing like a mid-level team, no offense right now, that's what the San Francisco 49ers seem to be. Then I see them putting up some points.
Yeah, it was going to be one of our quick questions actually, and I just wanted to double check that while you were talking about that. And, can the Niners win without Garoppolo? And to me, they against the Giants, against the Jets, right? Against some of these other teams. And Mullins had 343 yards passing and 3 scores, and I think, this is such a toss-up, but I'm going to go with the 49ers on this one. And of course, Trevor Crabb. Trevor goes with the 49ers. All right, guys, that concludes our Pick 6 segment. We are moving on to the NBA. The stage has been set, Rob. We got the winner from the East Coast. We got the winner from the Western Conference. The Western Conference winner are our Los Angeles Lakers. And the winner from the Eastern Conference is the Miami Heat. Once again, Pat Riley is there in spirit, as well as an astral image in his skybox watching the game. Always finds himself in the finals winning, always finds himself in the finals losing, absent of whatever superstars, right? Before it was Shaq, and then it was LeBron James or Dwayne Wade, who was a finals MVP. And here he is because the Butler did it. So, Rob, Eastern champ, Heat, Western champ, Lakers. Who wins this series?
The smart money is probably Lakers in 6. I would love to see the Heat, compete. I really don't think I'd get to understand it until second, third game in the series. But honestly, I think it goes 7. I really think that the Heat have a lot of matchup problems for the Lakers because they're so deep, and by the second, third quarter, a lot of things are going to be changing where Kyle Kuzma is not going to be able to guard half the players on, the Heat, and they're not even remotely the type of player he is. They're not long and lanky, they're small and quick, or they're big and strong. I just don't think the Lakers match up that well against them, especially inside, especially after we saw what happens when Anthony Davis only gets less than 10 rebounds in a game. And that LeBron might not be as willing to go get rebounds. I could see the Heat grind out the series, and make it really tough on them. And really, the other thing I was just thinking about is, Miami Heat is from Florida. Everybody is in Florida. So I could only imagine that the Miami Heat are the most confident, the most conditioned, the most prepared physically to be in this situation, to play against this team in that, that Miami Heat, like that Miami weather. So Yeah, I think the smart money is on the Lakers, but I personally feel like the Heat have been that dark horse from the beginning, and they got pushed at the end at the last series. So I'm gonna probably go with the Heat in 7, and take my chances.
Yeah, Rob, I'm going to go with the Lakers 4-game, and I'm going to go 4-1 on this one. I'm picking the Lakers in 5. I said numerous times on our podcast, I think the East is going to be won by the coaches, and the West was going to be won by player performances. And it turns out I've been right for the most part, but there's been one team in the West that has been won by the players, but significantly because of coaching adjustments and changes. And that one team was the LA Lakers. After every first game, in fact, after halftime in some of these games, I just saw some of these just, I won't call them brilliant adjustment. I guess just fundamental. Like if this is wrong, you just do that. Between the work that Vogel and Jason Kidd have been doing, just after the half has shown me the Lakers allow themselves to showcase their complete team approach. But I will go out on a limb and say this: in order for the Lakers to beat them, Anthony Davis has to be a Finals MVP. If LeBron makes it about himself, and I'm not saying he's a selfish player. In fact, he's one of the best passers in the history of basketball, right? He creates shots. But if it comes down to LeBron having to take the winning shot or carry them in the fourth quarter 4 out of 7 times, and with Iguodala there as an X factor, and the Heat playing really, really good defense. I mean, they can't. I mean, 4-1 there. I mean, people be pissed at me saying that right now. I think Anthony Davis is going to have to win MVP because the matchups. There's going to be someone that's going to be a mismatch, and you can't not put, if you're going to play man or soft zone, you can't not put Iguodala on LeBron. And you need someone to compensate for Davis and those other people. And I think that's the one person the Miami Heat might be missing. They do got a big guy. I mean, right? They got God, this guy was really good.
Got Bam.
Yes. Yeah, does Bam and Davis. Whew. Okay.
Yeah, man.
He's like, can you see why? He's like, can you see why I'm picking 7 games?
And Bam's got offense. He's got boards, he's got athleticism, and he's got strength. And this is the one thing I've been saying about Anthony Davis from the very beginning is that they've been trying to get a 4. Where's JaVale McGee? They need a 5 to play near, in front of him. They need Dwight to play like a 5 and not like somebody waiting to jump. Get off the floor and block some shots. Get off the floor, get some rebounds. You got to have somebody that's in there that's willing to bang, so that Anthony Davis can feel free to move around, get the ball, take some shots, as opposed to being back up against the basket. It's just, if you want to have a multifaceted player, you got to have a multifaceted system. That's just the way it rolls, and that's what I feel is very difficult. Is they're working with so many complex pieces. LeBron wants to be a Swiss Army knife. Anthony Davis wants to be a Swiss Army knife. Neither of them, both of them are so talented physically that they don't necessarily have to put it all in on defense, and it shows. Jimmy Butler is a guy who puts it all in on defense and then gets his buckets when he can. All those other guys are trying to put up 30, 40 points a game, trying to score 2/3 of their team's points. So it just, I think I'm really rooting for the teams like the Miami Heat, because I love to see a 3-guard system, a spread out system, if you're running small ball. I hate the 2 stretch 4s, run 2 3s and 1 4 down low and just spread out all 5 guys. It's just the way to spread the floor is there's multiple ways, and I love the way that Miami Heat do it.
Yeah, they've been spreading the floor. I mean, that's how they won the last 2 series, right? Bam himself had 32 points off of 14 boards. Right. I mean, Jimmy Butler 22 points, Tyler Hero 19 points, right? Iguodala put up 15. So yeah,
but nobody's putting up 40.
Don't need
that's
to.
That's
not the team that does that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's a team that beats, the LA Lakers, because the Lakers are still trying to find out who their third. They think that Kuzma's like in the beginning of the season was, or the beginning
Kuzma
of the
was
bubble.
the 3.
They think Kuzma's the number 3. Now it's KCP, and then it was Rondo, and then they got no idea what they're doing. In my eyes, like they just have so many pieces, and they have so many, interchangeable players that it's very hard to keep, a systematic offense in a sense where it's like they just basically have to run a pick and roll, 1 and 2 offense, or it becomes very stagnant, I feel. So that's why I'm saying, like, I do like Frank Vogel, but in my eyes, he's more of a defensive coach. He's not an offensively minded coach. And then you have Jason Kidd, who, he was a point guard, of course, but I didn't see that necessarily translate that well in his coaching stints, in his offense. He was also a great defender. So for both of them to make those coaching decisions, I saw a lot of great defensive and rebounding, in a sense, changes, but not offensively. And then when we talk about great coaching, I thought that the Denver's coach had fantastic coaching. That he was the best coach, necessarily in the Western Conference. And that, their talent level was not necessarily just up there. They got freaking Jeremy Grant starting at their 3. I mean, come on. That guy is like a role player at the very most. You know what I mean? Like, they need premium talent at some of the more premium positions, but, they got a great base. So I think that Eric Spoelstra could totally outcoach a Frank Vogel because his team,
that whole damn staff. Yeah.
Right. Because his team offensively is built to play against a team like that, to run around them and play offense, and to also, get in their passing lanes and make them not get close to the basket. I think it's a great matchup, and I definitely think it goes a good distance, 6 or 7, whichever way it goes.
Could you imagine how much Spoelstra would cement his legacy as a coach if he pulled this one off?
And beat LeBron.
It's 3 against
AD.
1, really. I mean, Kidd's a good, is a blue chip coach. Vogel's a blue chip coach, and LeBron's an on-court coach. So he's already going in 3 against 1. But the cool thing about this guy is there's something very Pat Riley about him that is very good at managing strong personalities. Right. There's some people that, there's some coaches, and they're very rare, that run their team with an iron hand. That's Popovich or whatever, and this and that. But then there's some coaches that kind of let you be yourself and still get the maximum, production out of you. I think Phil Jackson was good at that. Phil Jackson only asked for a little bit. You go to Shaq, hey, Shaq, aren't you interested in yoga? What do you know about yoga? I mean, that'll be the only thing he does, and lets Shaq be himself. So, I can't wait. That's Wednesday night. I can't wait. Cool. Hey, let's move on to the UFC. Big event. UFC, I believe, was 256. Adesanya versus Costa. Both fighters were undefeated, and someone's had to go. The 19-0, now 20-0, Israel Adesanya has defeated Paulo Costa, who at the time was 12-0, but ran roughshod over top competition in the middleweight division. So the question is, Rob, was this good Adesanya or bad Costa? What do you think?
I think it's a healthy mix. I think Adesanya is just compared to Costa on an absolute different level. Totally different stratosphere than where he's at. And when it comes to Costa, I just think he's never seen a fighter that's been able to not be taken down and be a better striker than him, regardless of what his body posture looks like. Because to me, Paulo Costa is probably in the wrong division. He looks like he should be fighting 205 or something like that, like the way he had to cut. You can talk whatever you want. He looked good, but he didn't throw the punches. He didn't throw the kips. He didn't do no takedowns. Even if you're trying to play the Yoel Romero game, that was done by somebody who's in a top flight athlete. So if that's the mode you're going in, you've got to do it better than him. And he didn't even throw punches. Yoel Romero tagged Izzy a couple times, got him in, vulnerable situations. Paulo Costa, didn't even, wasn't even close to really affecting Izzy at all. I mean, I really would love to know how many times Izzy got hit or how many punches Costa threw, because Adesanya did a great job of feinting him at distance, and keeping him at bay, and then eventually just ended up kicking his leg out to where minimized movement. And I mean, everything that Izzy did was spot on. His technique was, great. His positioning on his leg kicks were perfect. But on top of that, Costa really didn't move around much. He stood in front of him. Really, he tried to. That's why I really think he tried to do what Yoel Romero did, and thought he could do it better. So he was wrong, and hopefully he builds his way back up to another title fight, because I think Adesanya will be there for a little bit. But yeah, some great fights coming.
Yeah, let's see if I could take the time and push up this stat for you. There it is. Strikes landed. Light blue is Costa. Dark blue is Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 12.
Yeah.
12 shots.
Well, out of those 55 strikes, I will bet that 23 were leg kicks. I mean, he was just chopping, okay? Like you said, I thought there was a healthy mixture of both, but I thought this was more Adesanya. Adesanya, the last time he fought Yoel Romero, he was hoping Romero would come forward a little bit, but it ended up being a counter-striker versus counter-striker thing. Not a terribly exciting fight, but Israel's the champ, and to me, I don't put that on Israel as much as I put that on Romero. If you want to be the champion, you got to beat the champion. You can't be like, no, you hit me first. There's no stalemates, and no one's going to win a title on a stalemate, and that's not what's going to happen. Costa probably thought that he was going to walk him down, get him into a corner, and you know what I'm saying, bully him, little dirty boxing, and then just bludgeon him to death with that strong right hand. And the problem was, every time he came in, he got two-pieced, but then when he wanted to get his shot, Israel slipped in out of his left shoulder. Like a lot of fighters, even at this level, are making the mistake in moving to Costa's right shoulder. And when that happens, is he just steps in with the opposite foot and hits him with like a cross, or just you run into his right hand. And Israel was like two-piece, leg kick, move to the left, move to his left, two-piece, leg kick, move to the left, and eventually there was a head kick that I thought was the beginning of the end, and then hit him with a grazing shot to the temple, which sometimes shakes your equilibrium, and once you're down, Israel's not going to give you that time to recover, and that was the match. That was the match right there, and Israel is paid kudos to Anderson Silva. Said he doesn't want to be Anderson Silva, he wants to be him, but he said he salutes Anderson Silva's legacy, and out of respect for the sport wants to have a legacy like his. And I really thought that was classy. All the rest of that, he wasn't trying to be classy. He just got, he gets hyped up from all the trash talk and this and that. And sometimes when you're like that after the match, people are like, oh, you're supposed to be a sportsman and this and that. No, and then sometimes being yourself is super necessary. If that's who he is, then I say be who you are, and then people decide for themselves if they like you or not. But don't try to be somebody else and then have people call you fake, because now you sold your soul and people don't like you anyway. So his fans, he's got fans that are going to follow him no matter what. They're going to have fans that maybe not like his style, but at the same time see, okay, that's who you are. If that's who you are, I respect that. That's cool. So that's how he wants to go out. Good champion, good win, undefeated Israel Adesanya. Let's bring a little bit of attention to the co-main event, because this was for the vacant 205-pound. That's a light heavyweight championship that was vacated by John Jones. That was Jan Blachowicz versus Dominic Reyes. A true 1 versus 2. It was 1 versus 3 on the actual rankings, but in my mind it was a 1 versus 2. Jan Blachowicz, man, just sunk him, just slept him, and I think punched him awake on one of the shots, and then the ref saw enough. So my question to you is, what changed about Blachowicz since his last loss? Like Blachowicz, I'll put it this way. I'm going to put up the stat for you in a minute. But Blachowicz's last loss, and I'm scrolling, was Thiago Santos. He lost by TKO. Before that was a while ago. That was 2017, and that was Patrick Cummins, which, like, this Blachowicz would never lose to. This version of Blachowicz would never lose to. Alexander Gustafsson, unanimous decision. Okay, fine. So pretty much from 2019, He's won 4 in a row, and Luke Rockhold, whatever, had it coming, right? Jacare walks around 220 anyway, fine. Corey Anderson, KO. So maybe the level of competition wasn't as high as Gustafsson or whatever. But my question to you is, what's changed about this guy's style that's made him championship material?
I think he's, I believe he's more of a, defensive first fighter. Can't take him down. He's got a tough right hand. He's got a tough jaw, hard to stop. So I think he's just kind of understanding his strengths, slowly. I like Jan Blachowicz. I really loved what he was doing with his leg kicks. I really loved his combinations the other night. So yeah, I mean, I was surprised that Dominic Reyes put himself in those situations. He didn't look at all like the fighter that he was against John Jones. He didn't use many kicks at all. It was a lot of reactionary. Once Blachowicz hit him with a leg kick, he tried to kick him back, and really didn't work around his jab very much. He started moving around the second round, but so Dominic Reyes, I think, was a pretty poor showing, and but it looked great on Jan Blachowicz. I think is just so consistent, and I think that's something that you don't really see in this game because everybody tries to be the very best, and that's great, but you need to maintain a high level. That's why you see a lot of these players, like Conor McGregor had probably one of the biggest flare-outs you'll ever see in UFC history. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time in one period, and then he's now, really can't get a fight. Talking about fighting Diego Sanchez.
Okay.
So yeah,
right, Diego Sanchez, really?
That's crazy.
That made you shake your head. That's awesome.
So yeah, I think Jan Blachowicz just putting his offense together a little more, on top of being a counterpuncher. And that's just what I was going to say about Izzy as well. Is they do a good job of being aggressive defensively. Instead of being an offensive fighter, they, create the right distance for their defense. So as soon as you move, they can flinch because they could hit you. So they do a great job with distance, and they do a great job with keeping to the strengths.
No doubt. Cool, man. All right, so that concludes the UFC and mixed martial arts, and now we move on to our next section called Shame or No Shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
I love this. Dude, I love this. Let's pause this if I can. All right, let's pause that. And we go to, sorry, Robbie. All right, Robbie, shame or no shame? We have the Chargers hook and ladder play at the end of the game from Keenan Allen to Austin Eckler that fell short against the Carolina Panthers. Shame or no shame?
No shame. I was surprised that, they were in distance, with a rookie quarterback to actually even be able to win the game. So at that point, end of the game, you got to do absolutely anything to try to score those points. And to be honest, if they didn't, mess up the handoff, I think it would have been a really tight play at the goal line, and who knows what would have happened. So, absolutely no shame.
I say shame. It's no shame in running the play, but I say shame because if it's a play you practice, you got to catch that ball. I mean, and we're talking Eckler, who's a pretty reliable tight end. Okay, not the best dish in the world by Keenan Allen, but you got to catch that ball, and we've seen it run in college with Boise State. And as a bonus, maybe I'll show you guys at the end of this, but not too much of a finger wagging on my part, but I got to go with shame. You got no shame in running the play. Shame, got to catch that ball. Shame or no shame? Are you ready? Seattle's DK Metcalf fumbles at the 1 yard line, showboating, and gets the ball poked for a touchback. Rob, I'm going to go first on this. Shame, 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 shame of who. You not only gave up the ball for an obvious score. You not only lost the touchdown, you not only created a touchback that gave the team the other ball, but you gave the other team momentum to come back. And in fact, coincidentally, that was all the momentum the Dallas Cowboys needed to come back and take the lead and almost win that game. So subsequently, some games are decided in the end, but this one could have been decided in the middle. Shame.
I mean, it's definitely shame, but I'll say no shame because at the end of the game, he made up for it, and everybody makes their mistakes, and it really matters about what you do after that mistake. So I think that he, is a young player, he'll learn from it, but man, he actually burnt the guy, and this is the NFL, the best players in the league, they're never going to give up. So he made it up at the end of the game with the game-winning touchdown, and so I think the Seattle Seahawks will take it.
Yeah, they will. And he ain't never going to do no nonsense like that again. I tell you that. That's one of those
Probably
things you remember. Remember Deshaun Jackson he actually threw the ball away before he crossed the line. He threw it into the whatever. And he's celebrating, and everybody else, the other team's behind him, patting him on the backside. Good job, bro. All right, so here we go. We're on our next section. That was shame or no shame. This is called Quick Question, Rob. Rob, quick question. Is Trubisky finished in Chicago?
Yes. Nick Foles, enter.
Enter Nick Foles, exit Trubisky. I say yes. Quick question. Does John Jones fight this year?
I'm going to go with yes because there's a lot of holidays left still. But, yeah, I'm going to have to go with yes.
I go no. Too many holidays and cocaine's a hell of a drug. Nope. Quick question. Did the Yankees get past first round? I'll answer this first. I say yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Quick question. Who will win a game first, the Atlanta Falcons or the New York Jets?
I mean, the Falcons looked good last week, so I'm going with the Falcons, man.
You laughing because you know the answer, man. The Falcons should have won the last 3 games. They'll win before the Jets. I give it the Falcons. All right, so here we go. So let's do a little baseball quick pick segment. I'm going to give you the brackets, and we're going to pick our teams, just go down the line. All right? Let's do this. All right, first one, Dodgers, Brewers.
I'll go with Dodgers.
Me too, Dodgers. Braves, Reds.
I'll go, probably Braves. They look good, man.
I go Braves. Cubs, Marlins. This is my upset. I go Marlins. I pick the fish.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough, but I'll probably go with the Cubs still on this one.
Padres, Cardinals. Cardinals are a different playoff team. I go Cards.
Yeah, I'll go. I go Cardinals on this one probably. Yeah.
Rays, Blue Jays.
Rays. They look real good this year.
Yeah, man, Rays. Athletics, White Sox.
Man, am I gonna go? Damn. Athletics.
I go Athletics. Twins, Astros.
Ain't nobody's picking the Astros.
I am, so unfortunately. I am. I don't want to pick them, but gotta be. We got a job to do here. Yankees and Cleveland. We already talked about this.
Yanks, yeah.
Yeah, Yankees. I think Yankees, but the winner of that has to face the likely number 1 seed, and that's the Rays, man. And I really hate that matchup because the Yankees they don't perform goodly against the Rays when the Rays suck, and the Rays are good this year, so that's going to be problematic. Yeah, Rob, I do not have a sports movie of the week. But
Same.
Okay, all right, good. We'll just skip that. We'll do a nice quick R.I.P. Larry Wilson, Hall of Famer, and Gale Sayers, Hall of Fame running back in the NFL. I don't have the ages, but I'll leave it up to you guys, and I'll definitely post it for the people watching the video version of this. All right. Shout out. I don't have any shout out this week, and I think I'm probably going to beat Rob to the punch, where I say everybody be safe. God bless you all.
Absolutely.
You feel it? And Rob says, I repeat that sentiment. All right, Rob. I guess that's it, man. Hey, listen, You guys might love Rob, and Rob might love you, but I had enough of you. In fact, I can't stand you. I am out of here. For all of you at home, for all of you on your iPad at Starbucks, for all of you on your iPhone on the lunch line, for all of you on the desktop, who runs the world, old school, for Rob, keep it McLean. This is episode 36 of Sports Debate Tuesday. I am Jason DeBeers, and we say, we're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify, and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.